Welcome to the Impact Lounge. Feel the sound. Legends in the ring making moves all around. We got the fire, the heart, the stories untold. This is our moment. Watch the magic unfold. Welcome to the Impact Lounge, where we reign. Kings and queens of the ring breaking chains. We taking wrestling to a whole new height. Under bright lights, we ignite the fight. Genesis to rebellion. The crowd still chanting.
All right, what up, jobbers? It is your boy BQ. This is your Impact Lounge TNA Impact Review for August 28, 2025. And guess what? This is my third time recording this podcast today. Y'all are lucky that I'm home from work for the holiday. Did the whole podcast this morning, microphone on mute. Did the second podcast, it was fine, except the first 10 minutes were so choppy and unlistenable. You know, I was like, I can't put this out. So, God, we're trying for a third time, and I'm hoping this thing is clear and you guys can hear me and we can just get moving with it. What else was I going to say? There's some other point I was going to get at, but I'm telling you guys, every day that passes, I lack the energy for this shit. As far as podcasting is really, really hard for me to get done. And the good thing about the first couple of podcasts that I did, even though you're never going to hear them, they were super efficient. They were like, the first one is 35 minutes. The next one was 30. Usually I'm in the 45-minute range because I wake up at like 4 a.m. to do these shows, and I'm always like half asleep. And it's, my energy is just not there. My mind is not fully woken up. So I kind of struggle doing these shows. I'm sorry you guys got some light behind me here. Usually that's not an issue in the morning, but because I'm doing this in the middle of the day, got a little bit of light to deal with, so I hope it's not too big of a deal. But, I'm always half asleep doing these shows. So now in the middle of the day, I'm just like so much more efficient with it. And I'm saying the same stuff and like trimming 10 minutes off it. So freaking amazing, freaking great. But yeah, we're going to try this one more time for your mind. Hopefully there's no issues and we can just get this podcast knocked out for you. I did not watch last week's show. That's why there was no podcast. I did Emergence. I did the review. And on that review, I said, I'm not watching the episode because I knew it was unwatchable as far as the editing goes. And I said, if they don't care, I don't care. Now, I have found out that it wasn't TNA's fault. It was whoever they send the show to. So I don't know if it goes to Anthem because obviously they uploaded the show to TNA Plus as well. So I don't know exactly the chain of events, but I know it didn't happen at the TNA level. But what I also know is that this is a constant problem. It would be one thing if this wasn't an issue over the years, and I say the years, plural. All right, if it wasn't an issue over the years, that would be acceptable, but it is. It feels like we can't go 2 months without some kind of production snafu. And I understand production snafus. I just recorded a podcast on mute. You know what I mean? I had another where it was choppy. So I totally get it. But the consistency this is an issue is just unacceptable. But forget all that. We're going to get into this episode of TNA Impact One Time for Your Mind.
TNA Impact! Oh!
Your ring announcer for the evening is Mackenzie Mitchell.
Ding bong, ding dong, his Stone Cold Aye!
This featured a tag team match to kick things off. We didn't have Santino talking. We didn't have some kind of X Division 3-way or something. We just had a really good, hard-hitting match. It started off with Mike Santana.
That's nasty.
And his tag team partner, Steve Maclin.
I do the ass kicking around here!
Wait your turn, jarhead.
Their opponents representing First Class, Big Boom, AJ Francis.
Boom!
And the TNA World Champion, Trick Williams.
How about a magic trick?
So I've given TNA a hard time about this for years, and it's the slow-mo highlights that they do to kick off the show. Tom Hannafin yelling pirate noises, all that shit. I talk about it all the time. Man, I'm watching it this time, and I'm just like, the Mike Santana part they could do without. The only highlights I would have had was Ash by Elegance winning the Knockouts Championship on NXT. Like, that's the most relevant story going into the show. Sometimes I feel like they show highlights for the sake of highlights. And, man, I didn't watch last week's show. Do I feel like I missed anything? No. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that I'm like even a little bit confused about is the knockout story with Jody Thread and Danny Luna, and how Danny Luna turned on him and all that. That's like the only thing I'm like a little bit confused on. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But I'm sitting here like I didn't watch the show. I didn't watch the show before that either. I've gone 2 weeks in a row watching the show, and I don't feel lost. So I don't think it's necessary to kick it off with all these highlights. Like if it's something big and something relevant, like that's all you need. You know what I'm saying? And then go into playing "We Own the Night" or whatever the song is now, and go from there. So speaking of Trick Williams, I've gone over the last couple of weeks a lot of DMs. I hate DMs, folks. So when I lag on responding DMs, I hate DMs. So that is why. I have my wife's DMs freaking stacked up. So, but I get people message me, and on the Facebook group they do it as well. Everyone's trying to justify for me the whoop that trick, and they're trying to tell me what it, that they're trying to explain it to me why it's acceptable, why it makes sense. Spoiler, it doesn't. First of all, I got to say, I know the reference. I know the movie. Like, I am a hip hop head. I forgot more about hip hop, with all due respect, than most of you. Okay. So I understand the reference. I understand the meaning. Totally get it. Doesn't make sense. And I said on my emergency review that someone close to the situation told me, well, it's like the Kurt Angle "You Suck" chant. And I said, but Kurt Angle didn't have a choir singing "You Suck" when he went out to the ring. You know what I mean? So like Trick Williams did his Slammiversary. So y'all can keep trying, man. Y'all can keep trying. It doesn't make any sense. And I stick by that. So I really enjoyed this opening tag team match. I thought this was a good episode. I really thought all the matches were pretty good. But I thought it was one of the better episodes in a little while. I was excited when I saw the card. I said, I got interested in this episode. I got interested in these matches, So I was really looking forward to it, especially after not watching the show for a couple weeks. Man, I hope this podcast is going smooth. I will die. I always sample it first. I will die if it sounds like shit. I'm getting closer to my retirement, my podcast retirement. I'm getting closer. I don't know what it is. I tell myself every year, this is it. This is the last year. But I always fall back into it. And I think a lot of it is because when I stop podcasting, I'll probably stop watching wrestling, and I'll probably like disappear from Twitter. You know what I mean? Like you'll never hear from BQ again when I eventually stop doing this. So I think that's the hardest part. Like, am I really ready to walk away from the whole experience? But these things, when I have these mornings like this, where I have to do a podcast 3 times, because I plan on doing a positive BQ show today, and I plan on doing a negative BQ show today. Now I couldn't because I'm recording this for the 3rd time. So every time this happens, I'm like, I'm almost there. But anyway, great opening match. Lots, guys with size. I like everything Maclin does. I like everything AJ Francis does. Mike Santana does good work. Trick Williams does good work. So it was a great overall match. Mike Santana rolls up Trick Williams for the win. And this is TNA 101 once again. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about, but I've said before, I'm a Vince Russo guy. I know a lot of you guys aren't. That's fine. Like we just all like and hate different things. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a Vince Russo guy. But I also have been like subscribed to him for so long, and I listen to his podcast where he's talking about life and all that stuff. Like I feel like I understand him on a deeper level than most of you guys do. But he has this one podcast where he drops it every couple weeks, where he reviews an episode from the Attitude Era. Now you can say what you want about Vince Russo, but most of you guys enjoy the Attitude Era. So you can, whatever you think about him, remember, it's the most popular period in wrestling. And he gets into a lot of the stories where it's fascinating how many feuds and titled matches they were able to build that didn't have anything to do with the action inside the ring. Like there was such an emphasis on storytelling that you're creating animosity between two people, and it had nothing to do with wrestling, and then wrestling, and then eventually you settle the score in the ring. But with TNA, this is, when was the last time you had you had like a challengers to the world title that didn't win some kind of number one contenders match or pin the champion in a tag team match? It's just so, it's so just played out. You know what I mean? Like they just don't have any other way of getting there that doesn't involve wrestling and being in the ring and one guy pinning another guy, you know. Um, and I'm all for a tournament and a gauntlet every once in a while, but I mean, man, they just don't know how to get any they don't have stumbling all over myself. They don't know how to get anywhere storyline wise with just telling a story. It's always goes back to the wrestling. And the reason I kind of say all this is because we've known all year Mike Santana is going to wrestle for the title of Bound for Glory. Like, has anyone ever questioned that? So we know where it's going, and then we're just watching. Okay, how are they going to get there? And it's just the lazy. I didn't get pinned in the 3-way, and now we have a tag team match, and I pinned the champion, so now I'm the number 1 contender. I mean, come on. I wish there was just. It's wrestling people booking wrestlers, unfortunately, and that's I talk about that quite a bit, but that's just what it boils down to. The boys in the back booking the matches, doing the writing, and it's they're just in the bubble, the wrestling bubble. But anyway, yeah, Santana does get the pin here. Then we are backstage with Gia Miller.
I will kill you.
And she is standing by with Cedric Alexander.
My name is Optimus Prime.
And the X Division champion, Leon Slater.
Hey here, I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
And we're going back again. I like this episode, so when you hear me like complaining about stuff or whatever, just keep in mind I did enjoy the episode. All right, but this is a little booking 101 too. They bring in Cedric Alexander. They got his dream matches out of the way. He didn't win anything, and now they're like, "Oh, we got nothing. We got no story. So let's tease a heel turn." And that kind of seems where they're going here. I could be completely wrong. Maybe that's not what you guys got out of it, but it seems like that is the direction. He has not won a match yet. They're wrestling for the tag team titles tonight. So somehow this first time ever tag team is going to wrestle for the belts, and whatever. It's a good match. It's a great tag team match they put together. I assumed it was a non-title match, but whatever. That's what they were talking about. And it kind of seems like they're going to go the long route with Cedric and Leon Slater to just kind of continue wrestling. So I guess that's what they're doing. I don't expect Leon Slater to drop the title anytime soon. So I don't know. I wish they would have circled around back to it rather than what they are teasing here. And again, I could be wrong. Maybe that's not what they're doing. After this, folks, in the ring, we had Eric Young.
Who the heck are you?
What are you talking about? I'm Santa Claus.
No, you're not.
Why, of course I am.
And he took on representing the Rascals, Myron Reed. I don't know.
I'm your father.
Sorry, that soundbite was just like loading for the longest time. The soundbite I wanted for Myron Reed was Mari Povich saying, "You are the father." I tried Mari Povich. I tried Judge, whoever the hell, because there's judges who would do paternity tests as well. Could not find one clean clip on the internet of someone saying it that didn't have music in the background or didn't have people screaming at the same time. I mean, nothing. So yes, Myron Reed.
I am your father.
So I really like this one as well. I mean, there's not a match on here I don't like. But when it's X Division versus X Division, you know what I mean? Like, that's too much high flying for me. When it's one guy who's a high flyer and one who's not, I love that combination. I love the way that works. That's why, back in the day, I used to love watching Sin Cara. Because we didn't get Sin Cara versus Sin Cara. Well, literally we did, actually. There was one match that was Sin Cara versus Sin Cara. But I mean, for the most part, it wasn't someone who could do the same things he did. So it was just easier to enjoy and to marvel in, And that's kind of how I felt watching this one. Myron Reed is so good. Where Trey Miguel and Wentz are a little more like, it's kind of a dance routine when they're out there a little bit. Like, I like Trey Miguel a lot more than Zach Wentz, but it's a little like, paint by numbers, dancing by the numbers type of thing. Like, it's a choreographed routine. Motor City Machine Guns were the same way. I used to say that about them. Myron Reed does all the high flying, but it's so smooth and so precise and just happens so quickly that it doesn't look like his opponent is cooperating with him. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed watching this one. Eric Young ultimately gets the win with a low blow and then the pile driver. They're already kind of setting the tone, excuse me, for the heel turn for Myron Reed, because Ray Wall, I don't know if it was babyface or heel Ray Wall in this match, but he pointed it out, kind of sorted that Zach Wentz cost him the match. So it looks like they're going to go that direction. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't team up with Eric Young. I thought that from the very beginning. Sinner and Saint, Jobber and Taint were not there. And those were two guys, I said it from the very beginning, they look like, you order a washer and dryer from Home Depot, and those are the guys that show up to deliver and install it. You know what I mean? They work in the lumber department at Lowe's, you feel me? So they're just indie guys, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's people who do very well on the indies, do well with the indie style, make a living wrestling on the indies. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that. They're just not television characters. And I think they almost got there with Josh Alexander, but then Josh left. And they even had a nice little story there where they turned on Josh. Like it looked like it could go a decent direction. And they did try with these guys. They put him in jackets. They put him in helmets. They put him in lucha masks. I mean, it just seemed like they were wearing everything. They were like absolutely trying. They just couldn't get these guys there. So I don't believe they're at the set of taping. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're done. It feels like about a yearish that they've been in the league. I mean, in the league on the roster. So I don't know. I'm just not really expecting to see them again. Maybe we do, but it just wasn't clicking, wasn't working, and they're clearly just going to kind of, not clearly, but I'm pretty sure they're going a different direction with Eric Young. It shows last week when Danny Luna turned on Jody Threat and Indy Hartwell. And this was the only thing that kind of confused me. And that, by the way, her clotheslining and that security guard and turning him inside out was a great moment. What confused me is I could have swore Hannafin said Jody Threat was the number one contender after that match because there was a disqualification, but I thought it was a gauntlet match. I don't really remember. No, I shouldn't say I don't remember. I remember it was a gauntlet match. I just don't know. I don't know the finish. I don't understand it. So I'm going to have to go back and look into that, look at the results. But I just didn't understand how that kind of finished in a no contest, or did it? Or I'm a little lost on that one, but I need to look that up. It also let us know that on NXT in the Speed Championship tournament, Candice LeRae will be taking on Queen of the Rubber match, Xia Brookside. So she may be the first wrestler ever to have a speed rubber match. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like she's the first the first TNA star to wrestle someone from the main roster. I don't mean Brother Love Handles wrestling The Miz on a house show, but I mean as far as on NXT television or TNA television, because Candice LeRae represents SmackDown, I believe. I think that's the first time someone from TNA is wrestling someone on the main roster. Could be wrong, but that should be a pretty decent match because they're very similar in stature. And it's letting us know that the Elephants brand is going to celebrate next week. It's very weird that they made Ash the hero of TNA, but we're going to wait and see where it goes. I'm not jumping the gun. They are becoming my favorite part of the show, the Elephants brand, and I think Ash has come a long way in her character. But I will say here, and again, even with something I really like, I'm always going to find something to nitpick about it, but I brought this up 2-3 weeks ago. Ash is cutting her promo, and it just seems like they're on 3 different islands. The Elephants brand girls. Like M is in the back, Heather's up front. And it just seems like they're all reacting to different things. It's if you go back and watch a promo, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just the synergy is just very, very weird. But I guess it's kind of minor because I do like what they're doing. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying this little stable. I like it. M got a nice tan on her now. She's glowing. She's got a glowing tan on her, so she looks a lot better because the first couple of weeks, she came out even when they did the makeover, like she just kind of came out looking plain, wearing my Aunt Wilda's nightgown. Like as the weeks progress, she's starting to fit the mold a little bit better with the Elephants brand. And then after this, we had Knockouts Tag Team Action, Fatal Influence.
This is that group with George Michael.
And they're taking on the Inspiration.
I am iconic!
And I was into this one as well. I tell you, these Fatal Influence girls, clearly, I mean, they're hot as a $3 pistol, both of them, all right? They got the look. I think they're both very, very solid in the ring. Just like I think that with JC Jane, very good in the ring. The issue with them is they have no connection to the audience. I mean, zero. They lack personality. But it's not something they can't fix. They're not void of personality like Sky Blue or and who else? Cora Jade, you know what I mean? They're not completely completely void of it. It's just that they come out with the fake NXT personality. And it's crazy they actually have promo class in NXT because no one can talk in that fucking company. But they have the fake, the way they carry themselves, the facial expressions. Like, you don't buy a single word of it, When those girls get it together, when they come from here with their facial expressions. I heard them cut a promo the other day and it was so bad. Like, when they start to speak from the heart, I say this is the same about Masha Slamovich. Like, stop reading off a piece of paper, speak from the heart. Like, when that happens, they're going to be pretty good. So I think sky's the limit for those girls. I really do. They're like background dancers right now to JC Jane, but if it clicks for them, they could actually be stars. But they're pretty good in the ring. There was a moment here where Jessie McKay almost got headbutted by Cassie Lee, and they had the camera right on. Fuck editing this out. They just showed us on the camera. But they have, before the match starts, Cassie Lee will reach over the ropes and they'll do a kiss on each cheek. But she kind of jumped the gun and did it too early. And then Jessie McKay turned around and had to back up because she almost got headbutted. I never caught this in Fatal Influence's entrance, but when one of them enters the ring, kind of throws the jacket on the camera, and then the other camera immediately picks up on the other side of the ring where the other girl's entering. I think that's pretty cool. I've never caught that before. But I enjoyed the match as well. There was a moment. I don't ever fall for near falls. I think near falls are such bullshit. I actually fell for a near fall on this one. Maybe it's because I don't know if this is their finish or not. But one of them did a slingshot, and the other one caught. I think it was Jessie McKay caught her with a Pele kick. That was a freaking clean move. I don't know if that's their finish or not. I know it didn't end the match because the pin got broken up, but man, that's a cold finisher right there. If it is a finisher, if not, it's a great tandem move. I chatted my guy Pat about this, that I cannot stand in tag team wrestling when they have this great tandem move and it doesn't finish the match. That always drives me crazy. And I've been talking about it a lot lately because Heather and M have really good tandem moves that don't beat anybody, which is wild, man. And only for a move that's a lot worse to end up ultimately winning the match. It always seems to be how it works out. I was shocked that Fatal Influence was on this show to begin with. I really thought they were just going to kind of move on from all that once Ash got the title. But we'll see. Maybe JC Jane is going to show up and spoil the surprise next week. I really hope it's not Masha Slamovich. I mean, she got pinned in the tag team match. She got pinned in the three-way. Move on, okay? If you want to circle back around to her eventually, awesome. I think we need to move on at this point from her and find something else for her to do where she can own her craft and maybe work on the promos or something, and then return back to the Knockouts title picture. But I don't think her title run was what the company had hoped it was, because the way I've explained it in the past is I think they wanted her to be the next Jordynne Grace, and she's not. And I don't think it was clicking the way they had hoped. But where I really thought they fell off a cliff, man, is when they paired her up with the Hardys and just didn't really follow up on it the next week, because she got so over that one episode where she turned babyface and started speaking English, and then she was just kind of another girl on the show next week, and I think that really killed her. Then after this, we get the TNA injury report.
You have 24 hours to live.
24 hours?
Well, 22. I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long.
And as I say every week, this is the part of the show where they say someone's injured, but they're going to wrestle later on the show. So they said, who was injured here? Indy Hartwell, she's cleared. JDC is actually injured. He said he's out indefinitely. And then because they need 3, they came up with the bullshit. This is their new bullshit one. The Hardys and Slater needed thorough evaluations, but they will wrestle tonight. They'll be in the main event, so they're perfectly fucking fine. And they're not going to sell anything in the match. They're just going to wrestle the match. So I make fun of that every week. There's probably some of you who are like, "Oh no, it's so cool. I want to know who's hurt." And if you say so, but it's a good way to use the sponsor. It's just easy for me to make fun of, as is most of this show. Then it shows Trick Williams calling his lawyer. And I didn't pick up on the lawyer part. I thought it was just like a mystery. I was like, oh shit, is he calling Carmelo Hayes? That would be cool. And then Hanifin's like, did he just call his lawyer? So I guess that's what it is, which I have no interest in fake, phony fucking lawyers.
You're a fake and a phony, and I wish I'd never laid eyes on you.
After this, in the ring, we got Ryan Nemeth.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
He is letting you know that his big brother will be back on the show next week. He has finished doing what he'd rather do, and he's going to come back and use TNA for their money. So he'll be back, and they're going to probably continue whatever was going on with the Hardys. But he's talking for a little bit, and then we get Alicia Edwards.
Hey, baby.
Killing it in that dress. Killing it. And she comes out with King of the White People, Eddie Edwards.
Ooh, I'm white.
And man, I got to say this about Alicia. What I had explained in the past, that my concern with the babyface turn was that, will the heel Alicia unlock the Alicia? You know, Scott D'Amore did not believe in her. I think I've said that to you guys before. That's why you never saw her do anything meaningful on the show. And her segments always bad wrestling, bad acting, you know, nothing believable. And now she's coming out and she's still doing you want to know something, and the delivery and the demeanor and everything is still that of a heel. But instead of going from point A to point B, she's going point A to point C on the promo. Like it's still a babyface promo, but she's not getting away from what worked with her character. And that's freaking amazing, because there's too many wrestlers who they think because they go from heel to babyface, they got to start smiling and yucking it up with the fans. And that's why the fans are always like, oh, well, I preferred him as a heel, preferred him or her as a heel because they were more believable. And then they're fucking chuckle fuck as a babyface. You know, it's like she's continuing to do what works. And the good thing about that is if she needs to flip it back to a heel at some point, she can do that. You know, because at one point the system thing is going to be over. And I wouldn't be shocked if like half of them went heel and half went babyface or something. But she can flip it back if necessary. But I actually did pop because Ryan Nemeth said, I don't think I'm supposed to fight a girl, but I will. She said, not me, dumbass, him. And they talked to Santino. Fortunately, Ryan Nemeth was in his wrestling gear. He's dressed to compete. You know, shout out Jake something. But he was dressed to compete, and he had an impromptu match with Eddie Edwards. If you can wrestle at any time, why did they do contract signings and all that stuff? Because the match is going to be official if someone says it's official. Like, you don't have to sign the contract. It's whatever. But yeah, they had a match, and it wasn't a squash. It was enough where it was like you knew Eddie was going to win, but it was actually a pretty solid match. I got to say, too, I know I'm body shaming here. Eddie Edwards is in the worst shape of his career. He really is. He did not look good here. And it's crazy because he's, in the last year and a half, he's been with JDC and Moose, who are in like the best shape of their careers. Brian Myers in his own right is in great shape. And you would just think hanging out with these people over the course of a year and a half, maybe even traveling together, you're exchanging some kind of dietary tips or workout tips or something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he's going to get hurt if he doesn't get a little lighter on his feet. You know what I mean? And dude, Eddie Edwards is one of my favorite wrestlers. He always has been. I know I poke fun of everyone on this roster, you know, but that doesn't mean that I'm that I'm not a fan necessarily. I love Eddie Edwards, but he's just in a worse shape of his career. Like you just it look like he may inherit Sammy Callahan sound bites. I may not be able to have to retire those after all. But anyway, yes, Eddie Edwards gets the knee in the pin, which is good. Eddie Edwards does not have the best win-loss record in this company, unfortunately. After this, my friends, we had Gia Miller again backstage. She was with Indy Hartwell.
How long did it take you to learn English once you got here?
It was really easy because we speak English in Australia, you fucking idiot.
And she's addressing the Danny Luna situation. Danny Luna turned on her, and man, all I was thinking is like, yo, they really could have dragged this out a little bit and made it like they only wrestled like once as a team, I think, and then they kind of hung out, whatever. I knew there was going to be some kind of story here where there was a turn because they were the only tag team not wrestling for the titles. Every other tag team was wrestling in 3-4 tag team matches. They weren't wrestling for the belts. They weren't wrestling anybody, really. They had no feud. So I was like, yeah, Danny Luna's going to turn on her. And that's going to be the last, bit of a feud that they need to go into Bound for Glory. And she's cutting this promo within seconds. Here comes Santino.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Oh, there you are. I've been looking for you. Like these motherfuckers don't have cell phones. Just randomly finally found her while she's in the middle of an interview. Thought he would interrupt the interview. Why not? Lets her know that next week she can wrestle Jody Threat for #1 contender. So I was already confused because I thought Jody Threat was the #1 contender, but I guess not. And then within 10 seconds, the person she just happens to be feuding with, who was clearly standing 5 feet away from this the entire time, the leader of the Mewtwo movement, Danny Luna.
God damn, bit like Mewtwo.
And she did cut a heel promo later in the show that I thought was pretty good, by the way. But yeah, these fucking interviews. Indy Hartwell's talking. Here comes Santino conveniently. Here comes Danny Luna conveniently on this fake phony wrestling show.
Fake and a phony, and I wish I'd never laid eyes on you.
And she says, put me in the match. Indy Hartwell says, put her on the match. So what is going to happen is it's a triple threat #1 contender match. They're going to break off and do their own feud. Jody Threat is going to win the match and be the #1 contender, which this match reeks. It stinks of. There's a TNA Plus show coming up, and we need a throwaway title defense. I mean, it fucking stinks of it. So that's why we know Jody Threat's going to win this thing. She's not going to go on to Bound for Glory, but whatever their TNA Plus show is, she will get a title shot there. And that is that. So no spoilers, but Jody Threat's going to win this thing. I think that's pretty obvious. Santino called Jody Threat Jody Treats, which is actually good. So Jody Treats and Elephant's Brand. Finally, he got like 2 funny names with this entire freaking roster so far. Then it shows Eric Young backstage, lets us know the cleanse is coming. It's been coming for a minute now. Nothing's really quite happened yet. There was a guy in his match that had a mask. I don't know if that's going to be his muscle, his heavy. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're getting away from Sinner and Sane. It seems very, very obvious here. And then it shows Brother Love Handles Joe Hendry laying on the ground asleep because Eric Young knocked him out. Cold, apparently. Why is it when there's these backstage, when someone gets jumps backstage, they're out cold? Like, if it's that easy to knock someone out cold, like, do it during the match and then pin them and win the match. You know what I'm saying? Rather than Joe Hendry just laying down and selling it, like just in pain, he's out cold. So whatever you did to him there, do it in the ring, and then you can beat him right away. All right? I'm a smart guy. But at the end of this, Tom Hannifan would rather get his catchphrases over than actually sell what happened as he transitions into the next segment. Then we had another knockouts match because we're going to get as many of these women on the show as possible. I told you. Tasha Steeles.
We've got a badass over here.
She is the director of operations, and she's taking on Mara Sade.
Dracarys.
Jacksonville, the community, Duval.
I can't believe NXT let go of this girl. She's pretty good, and like I would have got rid of Lash Legend. You know what I'm saying? Why'd they get rid of this girl? TNA found a real diamond in the rough here who, is going to be champion one day. They I guess from last week, now she's friends with the Hardys. Hannafin tried to put that over like twice. AKA, when you pair someone up with the Hardys, that means you're trying to get them over because they're the most over people. So that means they're trying to get her over. But then, again, this is another one that I thought was pretty good. I always think Tasha Steelz does a really, really good job out there. If she had a little more size, she would be really one of the top knockouts in this company by far. I really like the finish where Mara Sade tried to re-enter the ring. Tasha Steelz caught her with the cutter. 1, 2, 3. It wasn't a bullshit match because they were going to do a post-match angle. They did both. So, good match, post-match angle. Agent Zero takes Mara Sade's head off with a clothesline. After she's already been taken out, now here come the Hardys. The Hardys had because they had to wait for their music to play. God forbid they come out and save her. They had to wait for the music first. And like, folks, I walked to get the mail quicker than these guys came out to the ring. And the one issue I had with this is I gave them props for actually doing the clothesline on Mara Sade instead of teasing it and then the Hardys music hit. Like they actually did it. But it's always baby faces up. Like, wouldn't it have been more effective? I'm always looking for ways to get heat. Wouldn't it have been more effective if they clothesline Mara Sade, take her head off, and then we transition to the next segment, and the Order 4 is standing above her. You know what I mean? But it's baby faces up always. The Hardys have to come out, take care of Order 4 because now they have to, it's the Hardys and Mara Sade versus Order 4 and Tasha Steelz next week. I don't even know that's an official match, but I wouldn't be shocked. But it's always like, it just paint by the numbers, man. Why not get some heat? Go for the heat. Have them really beat down Mara Sade. Get some fucking heat, man. Why did the Hardys have to come out and save the day? It's whatever. What do I know? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. So I think that was the second to last match, and it, in fact, was. So next up is the main event.
Oh, what a kick out!
We had the aforementioned Leon Slater and Cedric Alexander. They are taking on the Hardys.
Wonderful!
Oh, what a kick out!
Wrong one.
Yeah.
So, actually, I'm going to keep that soundbite handy. This obviously was a good match. We knew the Hardys were going to win, and they did. There was here at the end of the match, there was a moment. Cedric Alexander hits a pretty nice move on Jeff Hardy. I don't remember what it was. Goes for the pin, hooks the leg. Matt Hardy reaches with his hand behind him, grabs the rope for a rope break. What do you think Hannafin did? What do you think he said? Take a guess. Let me take a second. What do you think? Jeff Hardy reaches back, rope break. What do you think Tom Hannafin said?
Oh, what a kick out!
Can you stop trying to convince me this guy's good, please? Josh Matthews doesn't say dumb shit like that, But anyway, the Hardys obviously win the match. If something happened after the match, I didn't catch it because once the match is over, I just turned it off. That was it for me. You know what I'm saying? So if there was a post-match angle, I'm sure I will see it in slow motion next week. I wouldn't be surprised if the Order 4 didn't come out because if the Hardys came out earlier, it's probably what it was. But who knows? Who knows? But that is going to do it for me this week. I'm trying to get a positive BQ and a negative BQ show done. It was my intention today. It's just not going to happen. But hopefully very soon I will get those done. And that's going to do it for me for this week. I am your boy, BQ, and I'm out. Peace.